Some people are not very happy that an end run was done around the people concerning this legislation that redefines the parameters of marriage. They're not happy that it passed, and they're not happy that you supported it. People are upset that the behind-the-scenes meetings actually violated New York State's open meeting laws. They're upset that normal Senate voting procedures were suspended, which prevented opposing senators from speaking up. And they were upset that this bill wasn't sent to the appropriate committees before being put up to the full Senate for voting. There was also no 3-day review period. People were upset at the promises of large campaign contributions to Republicans who would switch. I believe our own mayor did that, and people were fuming at it. Some people even described the whole event as the day democracy died. They're particularly concerned that you, as an observant Jew, has taken this position. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about this, and also, do you support a future plebiscite from the people itself as to whether this legislation should remain?
Well, I am too particularly concerned with procedural violations if they were done. The violation that you referred to actually occurred in the other house, in the state Senate, not in the state assembly. And I think there should be investigations. I think there should be the process should be looked into. I think from all sides' point of view, people have to feel that there was a fair process, that the vote took place, without coercion. Similar to like when you're in a court of law, you have to state that you're taking a position or any kind of plea in any kind of criminal case without any threat of coercion or any undue influence. So there's no question I would be open to any kind of investigation looking into a procedural issue. But again, you're talking about a process that took place in the other house, in the state Senate, where it actually made a difference on whether this particular bill became a law or not, because it had passed already in the house that I am in years before I even got there on numerous occasions. In the case of the bill, and I know some people were upset about my vote, it did at the same time protect and put in provisions for religious organizations, which specifically in law protected religious organizations from being sued for not willing to perform same-sex marriages, as well as adoption agencies that felt it violated their religious beliefs, whether it be Orthodox Jewish or Catholic or other religious institutions, from conducting adoptions or facilitating adoptions among same-sex couples that violated their religious beliefs. So there were protections in that bill that was eventually voted on.
Would you support a plebiscite allowing the people to vote on this issue in the future? Or this wasn't done by the people. This was done by the representatives.
No, I understand. You could actually technically make that argument about a lot of pieces of legislation, because it's an old argument about whether we should have representative government or whether we should have voting by referendum. Actually, the state of California has the public referendum system to replace a lot of laws. I do think there are times when it is appropriate to have public referendums. In the case when I was in the city council and term limits in the city, another time when I think there was the falling of democracy was when the mayor and the city council overturned term limits after the voters had voted twice by public referendum for the 8 years in the city council, and I was actually one of the leaders against it, against changing term limits by legislation, because the public had already spoken. See, I think it's wrong if there is a public referendum on something and the people have spoken so clearly, then to overrule that referendum by legislation. The referendum you're talking about is a tricky situation because we have a legislative environment. Had there been a public referendum before, I think there would be a much stronger argument that the legislature should not be acting to overturn what is the will of the public.